Hey everyone, I'm Matt Reed, web development and digital marketing expert. We're here for a webinar today showing you guys how to get online and basically some short, simple steps how you can start from nothing and get your website up and running. Whether you're computer literate or illiterate and you don't know much about online technology, this webinar is designed to help give you some clear pointers to help you build and market your business online. Now you've got to remember that so many people are on the web nowadays. Everyone's on their mobile phones during their breaks looking for products or looking for the things they want to do. People sitting at home at night, sitting around looking for different things that they can buy or different services that they need. So it's really imperative you have a website for your business. If you're a retailer, you'll have an e-commerce website, so you're retailing online. If you're a service business, you'll have an information website where people can see what you do, get a quote. So let's jump in and just see what we're going to be discussing today. But just a brief introduction to me. I'm a web development expert from New Zealand. I've worked with over 600 companies since 2007 when I was at high school, and I started my first business when I was 15. Now I've tried and failed at many different things on the in the web sort of sector, so I can give you professional advice from my own past experience. I'm not just I haven't read from a textbook and telling you what I've learned. I'm more actually showing you what I've learned in practical reality, not just from my own business and trying to build my own business and own online web presence, but also for my actual clients. As I said, I've dealt with over 600 companies building their experience online, so I've learned a lot from many different industries. Therefore, I think I can add some value to what you're looking at today. Now, you might not agree with everything I say, but as long as you pick up even one or two real good things that you can input, then you might find that helps transform your business's online presence. So if we jump into what we're covering, if I just quickly run through it, you might need to sit down with a juice or something, or a beer, depending on what you like, and just take some time because we're going to go through a bit here. So planning your website, organising the domain name, picking a CMS system, setting up hosting, planning the structure, the sitemap, content writing, doing a landing page, optimizing for SEO, optimizing for mobile, final touches, and also continuous improvement and analysis. So there's a few points in here you're probably already going, what the heck is that? But that's fine. I'm going to tell you about them more in depth as we go along. You've really got to watch the whole webinar, guys, to get the full value out of it. So just stick with me and we'll get through it. So if we jump straight in the deep end, chapter 1. Planning your website. So what do you really want from your website? Most people are usually one of the below. You're making sales, you're generating leads, or you're there to educate. Now most companies are making sales or educating. Not making sales or educating. Most companies are making sales or generating leads. Educating is a little more niche, more for charities and organisations. So we'll go into detail about them a little bit more later. But basically, your goal judges how you lay out and write your content. So if you're doing a service-based business, you're going to write content convincing people to use you and why they shouldn't use your competition. So what value can you add to them? What problem can you solve for them? We include short, sharp points, highlighting the lead's pain points and their issues. We don't want to necessarily talk about how we do things as such. We want to talk about how we can solve their problem, because that's what people want at the end of the day. They're not really fussed about how we do it, they just want to know that we can do it, or how we can do it for them in the most easiest possible way, and obviously cost-effective way most of the time. Now, websites also need to have a clear path of guidance, so they need to take people through a process. It's sort of like a story. There's an introduction, what you do, how you can help them, and then you take them through what you can actually do for them, the experiences that other people have had using their service or your service, and then furthermore, okay, now you know about us, hopefully we've convinced you enough to make an inquiry, get in contact with us. Now, your goal judges how you later write your content. So educating is sort of separate. So educating is more based around telling people about what you do, who helps you, what your mission is, what your sort of strategy is, as well as who looks after you, who sponsors you. So educate. If you're going to educate on your website, you're usually, as I said before, a charity, an organisation. You might be an event. You might do events. You might raise money. more philanthropy type work. So educating is sort of a more limited market, but there's also businesses that do set up a website solely for educating because they have such an extensive client base already that they don't necessarily need to market online as such. They're there just to reinforce and tell people that they've worked for this many companies, they've got 50 years experience, they're certified in X, Y and Z, whatever it might be. So some businesses just have a website to educate as well. But for the most of us, we're doing it to sell and generate leads. Now, when you're planning a website, you've got to really think about what are you prepared to spend? What are you prepared to invest? At the end of the day, the old adage is true, you get what you pay for. Sure, you can build a website yourself, and this seminar is really about that, helping you build a website yourself. But at the end of the day, you're an expert at what you do, I'm an expert at what I do, and web designers are experts at what they do in most cases. So what you need to really think about is, am I better to spend that money building a website with a professional who's going to do it right first time, or can I do it myself? Do I have the time to do it myself? Should I actually be trying to sell my product and service and being out on the road rather than trying to figure out how to build a website? That's what you've got to make your mind up about. So websites really range massively in cost. They can be very cheap for free, you do your own one for free on Wix or Weebly, for example. But they can also be very expensive, and the issue with this area is because web design and development is such a low barrier to entry, anyone can buy a laptop and say they're a web designer. You've got to be careful that when you build a website that you use the right people and that you get quotes from different companies and do it correct, because I've seen dozens of people get ripped off very badly by choosing the wrong web designer. So if you're building an information or a brochure website, your costs are going to generally range from $900, I like to think, to $10,000. So that's a big range of variance in cost there, obviously. So usually it comes down to how many pages. How many pages are you going to have on your website? We're going to talk about content later on, so I'll go into detail more about the page count. But yeah, if you're going to have 3 pages, then you're going to pay less. If you're going to have 20 pages, your website's going to be a lot more expensive. So that really dictates the cost of a business website. Now, if you're doing online retail, e-commerce, those websites can range from around $1,500 at the very lowest up to well over $30,000. Again, it comes down to how many products are you selling? Are you selling to consumers or businesses? And also, is there any special features your website needs? Does it need to do gift vouchers? Does it need to do special pricing? Does it need to do pricing based on what client, which client's ordering? Those can all dictate the cost of websites. Now, if we just quickly break it down, what are you wanting to achieve? How much do you want your website to earn? That's a good question to ask yourself. If you want your website to really be your main lead generator or your main sales tool, so if you want pretty much all your business to come from your website, all your business or all your sales to come from the website, you need to think, well, okay, I've actually got to spend some money here. You can't just set up a website for free and expect it to be your main income earner. You've actually got to spend money, guys, or do it in a smart way where you're getting really good value and getting exposure for your website so that you can actually get some sales and leads through it. Because a lot of people think they can set up a website and once it's done, and they can let it sit there and it's going to generate millions of dollars of sales. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You've really got to put time into it. So think about it. What are you wanting to achieve? How much do you want your website to earn? The more you want it to achieve, the more you want it to generate leads and sales, the more time and effort and money you'll have to invest in it at the end of the day. So what I like to do usually is ask the client, how much do you want to spend? How much can you afford to spend? When you set up a website, generally you set up it and you pay a one-off fee to build it, and then you have a small ongoing hosting fee. So usually I say to clients, just have a little monthly fee on top of that you can invest in advertising and marketing. Now the real core goal here, if you're selling online, is to get a website, to get customers through it initially that you might pay for and advertise for, but build a good solid bread and butter customer base that you can remarket to after they've ordered and resell to them. Because once a customer's on board, you don't have to pay more money to advertise to them again as such. You've already got their details, they've purchased from you before, they're more likely to purchase from you again. So you want to build a good customer base, look after them, and get that word of mouth referral going, and then you'll find you'll start getting sales without having to invest as much in advertising. So the initial part's always the hardest, but I'll digress. So if you're generating leads, if you're a service business, you're a plumber, electrician, you're a builder, whatever you might be, these are things that you'll need to consider. So let's go through them. Will you promote your prices? Are your competition showing their prices? If they are, perhaps you should be showing some of your prices as well, because people do like to know things straight away. Now, can you get references, photos and testimonials? If you're a new business, you obviously probably haven't done a lot of work yet, so you're going to be saying, well, I don't have any testimonials or projects yet, so that's something that you'll need to start building on as soon as possible. Like I've set up another business sideline to this, and I've only just started doing it, and I've got nothing to show yet. But every job I've done so far, I've asked the client for a written reference or a testimonial. So make sure you can collect those, because those are real. That drives people to obviously purchase, and helps convince them. So how much competition is in your industry and your target area, and what are their websites like? Are you in an industry where there's a lot of people out on the road who are using your service, and they're using their mobile phones? Perhaps your competition's websites aren't mobile friendly, or they're clunky and slow. Then maybe you need to consider making a website that's really good on mobile, and it's quick and easy to use, because if a lot of your customers use their phones, then you can have that sort of standout advantage over the others. And what is your unique selling point? What is your USP? And what does your competition not promote that your service offers that you could sort of highlight to them? An example of that would be, a simple example of that would be, if you're a personal trainer, sure, your competition might be advertising easy, short classes, 20 minutes a week, whereas you could sort of highlight something in there that is a little more standout, like you'll feel more energized, you'll have better sleep at night, just things that the competition basically aren't saying. I'll try to think of a better analogy for that, but that's, if that sort of helps, that might give you an idea of what I'm talking about here. Now the next one is, can you do quotes and online bookings? So again, people like to do things straight away and get it done and out of the way. They don't have time to be emailing and phoning in most cases. So do you have a place where people can just get a quote straight away, book online straight away, and it's done? If your competition's not doing that and you can do that, then you might find you get a lot more sales from that. For example, a hairdresser. A lot of hairdressers still take phone bookings. Some people just want to be able to log in at night, 10 PM, the hairdresser's obviously closed. They want to be able to log in, book a time for tomorrow, done. And if you can offer that over your competition, then you're going to stand out online more. Because again, people want things now. Drill that into your head. And finally, are you offering a personal service, or are you more business to business orientated? So if you're more business to business orientated, you're going to be sort of selling the facts and figures and statistics and how it can save the business time and productivity and make them more money. Whereas if you're dealing with a personal service, you're a hairdresser, you're a lawyer, you're a psychologist, for example, you're going to be sort of gearing your website towards the more emotional side of things, gaining people's trust and sort of building rapport between them on the website so that they inquire with you. Whereas businesses are more looking at the end of the day at the hard facts, can it make me money, can it save me time? So you've got to consider, okay, how am I going to gear this? What's my target audience? Is it B2C or B2B? Now, let's go through it if you're generating sales. So same sort of thing. What shipping methods will you offer? What payment methods will you offer? So many people seem to forget about these. I set up a website for them, and just before we were ready to go, they actually still don't know what they're going to charge for shipping. Try and get this sort of stuff planned out before you go and build a website. Who am I going to use to do my couriers deliveries? Am I going to select pickups? Am I going to do free shipping? What's my free shipping threshold? A little bonus tip for you guys here. If you do free shipping, or what I suggest actually is you do offer free shipping, but offer it at a certain price point. Spend $99 or more and get free shipping. Spend $49 or more and get free shipping, because that'll entice people to spend more money to get that free shipping bonus. Now you might say, why not $100 or more? Well, psychology sort of studies obviously show that the lower the number, it looks like less of a barrier to get to. You know, if you think of $100, it's, oh, okay, $100. It's not a lot of money, but still for some people it is. So if you're saying $99, you're not at that 3-digit number yet, so say $99 or more. Payment methods. You can use PayPal, you can accept credit card. Are your customers international? If they're international, then you might want to consider PayPal. If your customer base is mostly local and in your local area, you have a payment provider that everyone's sort of familiar with, then you might want to consider using them to do your credit card transactions, because people will trust them more than a payment provider they hadn't heard of. Do you have all the required collateral for your products? Imagery, specifications and pricing. Again, so many companies fail to do this from the get-go. They come to us or they come to me for a website and they don't have imagery, product information or pricing. It's all stored up in here and it's no good. You need to write down all of your product information. And I mean more than just the title and how many are in stock, actual information and what value does it add to the customer, what's the specifications. If it's a special product, it might have the weight and the dimensions, or it might have fitment information, it might have a user manual. You know, can you get things like that? Because including all that sort of stuff on your retail website is very beneficial. Now, do you have products that relate to one another and that can be used to upsell or cross-sell? So if you're selling toothbrushes, you could upsell someone to an electric toothbrush. If you're selling toothbrushes, you could cross-sell some toothpaste. You could cross-sell some floss. You've got to think about what does my product complement, and can I offer the customer those different options? Because the more you can offer them, and the more it ties in with their product, or sorry, what they actually want, then the more likely they're going to buy it. If you're going to go and buy a brand new phone, and when you're about to fill in your information at the checkout, it says, click here and for $10 we'll give you a phone case, then you go, oh heck yeah, I'm buying a $1,000 phone here, I want to make sure it's protected. Bang, easy money. Now, are your products unique? Are they already on the market? Is there other people selling them already? You know, if you're selling phones, you're going to be competing with another 500 companies selling phones, because you've all got the same product. So what can you offer that's different? What can you offer that's different to the other person selling the exact same product? Do you have phone support? Do you have automatic online shipping tracking? Do you have free shipping? Do you have free shipping over $50? Do you have a VIP or a loyalty program? Or can you set one up? Those are the things that you need to consider if you're selling products that aren't unique, they're not sort of niche in the market. If you are selling your own custom products, then of course the product's going to be what's going to mainly sell. But hopefully that helps. Okay, if we move on here. The art of picking a domain name. Excuse me. So, when you're picking a domain name, you're generally going to do one of two things. You're going to base it around your business name, or you're going to base it around your service or industry. Now, for those of you who don't know what a domain name is, it's basically, for example, just a name like google.com, or apple.com, or cnn.com, or .co.nz, or .com.au, wherever you are. That's basically the name that people type in to go to your website. So people generally either name it around their business, or they name it around their service and industry area. So for example, let's take my domain name. My domain name's business orientated. It's mattreed.co.nz. That's a business orientated domain name. If you're called ABC Electrical, your domain name would be ABC Electrical. Now, if you're basing it around a service industry or area, I could be, for example, webdevelopmentexpert.co.nz. It's based around the industry I'm specifically serving. If I'm an electrician, it could be aucklandelectrician.co.nz, or torontoelectrician.com, or .ca, whatever it might be. So while there is some benefit, in a minor sense, for having your domain name based around the industry, at the end of the day I still like to stick to a business name. It used to be sort of beneficial SEO wise, but from my experience I haven't really found it to make much difference. So usually I just stick with a business name. If you're called ABC Electrical, try and get abcelectrical.co.nz, for example. Now the do's and don'ts of domain naming, so you've got to be really careful you guys, and so many people muck this up. You've got to keep it short. So keep your domain name short. So if your business name is, let's say, John Doe Manufacturing, if we bought the domain name johndoemanufacturing.com, it's quite long and it takes you half an hour to write it out, it's not good. So keep it short. So it could even be as short as JDMFG, short for John Doe Manufacturing, jdmfg.com. Nice and short. Make it easy to spell. If you've got a, let's say you're a chauffeur, not everyone knows how to spell chauffeur. So perhaps use a slightly different way of wording it. So it could be limo. You might be a chauffeur, limo, same sort of thing. You could call your business limo.com rather than chauffeur, because people go, S-H-O-F or C-H-A, is there two F's or two? So you've got to really make sure it's easy to spell. Now the sort of opposite to this is, if you'd rather still have it, keep the hard way of spelling it, try and get the different domain names in the different forms of spelling. Simplest way to say that is my domain name, mattread.co.nz. Now you could spell it M-A-T-R-E-A-D, M-A-T-T-R-E-A-D, M-A-T-T-R-E-A-D, I think I've already said that. But you've got to get the different names, so if someone goes and types it in, they're not going to go, that doesn't go anywhere. If you've got all the different options, people can't miss it. So ideally just make it easy to spell. If you can shorten it, abbreviate it, do that. Now don't forget email addresses. So if you're going to have an email, for example, let's go back to John Doe Manufacturing, you're going to have john@jdmfg.com. Nice and simple, easy to spell, short, sweet, beautiful. But again, if you've got a hard to spell email address, think about it and take it from my experience. On the phone, people go, what's your email address? Okay, it's blah, 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 and they go, how do you spell it? So you got to spell it to them, and it's just a waste of time. Keep it simple. What's your email address? It's john@jdmfg.com. Thank you very much, good night. Keep it simple. Pick a relevant TLD, so top level domain. So if you're dealing with international companies, you're offshore, you're dealing with globally, you might get .com or .co. If you're working solely in your own country, for example New Zealand, like we are here, .co.nz, .nz. If you're in Canada, it might be .ca. If you're in Australia, it might be .com.au. Or if you're in UK, .co.uk. Try and keep it relevant to what you are doing. If you're in the local area, get the local domain name. I get a lot of companies come to me and they've got a .com and they only work in the local area, 20-kilometre radius around this area. You don't need a .com, and it can put people off. They go, are they an international company? I'd rather use someone local. So make sure you pick the right TLD. And again, pick your registrar carefully. So you've probably heard of GoDaddy, Crazy Domains, there's lots of different ones now. You've got to pick the right domain registrar. A domain registrar is basically the company that reserves that name for you and looks after it. So make sure you pick the right company. Okay, so CMS. What is a CMS? CMS is Content Management System. So there's generally two types of CMS. Now, Content Management System is basically fancy terms for being able to edit the website yourself online. Being able to log in, change the wording, change the pricing, adding products, viewing sales and stuff like that. So if you're doing a business website, basic business information website, you'll use a CMS like Zulu, Squarespace, Silverstripe, WordPress or Wix. Now there's a lot of different options out there, but those are the common ones. Now online retail, if you're selling online, you might use Zulu Shopfront, Shopify, Magento, Xcart and WooCommerce. So those are all different CMS/e-commerce platforms you can use to run your website. Now when you're setting up a CMS, you're generally going to be using a package that sort of automatically creates the web page system for you, or you're going to use a software package. Now if you're doing it yourself and you really have no clue where to start, I suggest definitely just doing an automatic setup. Now automatic setup means you go to a website like Squarespace, you put in your details, you put in your business name and it starts to build a website for you, and it makes it real simple. If you want more flexibility and you want some special features and you just want more control, over the whole setup process, then you could use a software package like WordPress, which is free and open source. Personally, I'd prefer Silverstripe over WordPress, but those are sort of the two ones that you generally use. Now, a web developer, for example, like us, we would use a software package because it really gives us full flexibility. But remember that I know how to code and build websites from pretty much nothing. So it's can be quite technical. So if you're not technically inclined, then stick to the automatic setup and use something like Shopify or Squarespace or Wix. Now let's go into detail. So we talked about domain names before. Now we're talking about hosting. So a domain name and hosting. How I like to explain it is a domain name is the post box at a house, the box with the numbers on it. The house is the hosting. Now if you want to go to that house, or if you want to send something to that house, you want to see what's in that house, you've got to know the address, which is a domain name. You know, jdmfg.com or mattreed.co.nz. That's the address. Where do I find that website? Because the hosting has the website in it. The hosting is basically a computer that houses the website. And when you go to a certain address like mattreed.co.nz, basically what happens is that address points to a computer and it says this computer has Matt Reed's website on it. So when you type in mattreed.co.nz, it goes, oh yeah, that computer, we'll go to that computer and we'll get the website and we'll show it to the person looking at it. So it's basically the storage of where your website sits. It's just a computer really, it's just a big array of computers in a data center that have the website stored on them. And that's how every website works at a fundamental level. So what hosting do you need? So if you're using a system like Zulu, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, those are again automatic packages. You don't need hosting, it's all part of the setup, and some of them are free obviously, but it's all part of the cost that you pay as a one-time sort of fee every month. If you're using Joomla, Silverstripe, WordPress, then you need good solid hosting. So you need a place to plonk that software package onto. So use hosting that's close to your user's location. Now, if you're a business in New Zealand here, for example, you should be using hosting based in New Zealand. You shouldn't be using hosting based in America. You shouldn't be using hosting based in Asia. You shouldn't be using hosting based in Australia. You should be using hosting based here. Yes, it's not $1 per month. It's not the cheapest hosting, but it's a lot quicker and a lot more reliable. Plus, you get better support than you would from a company overseas. Now, if you're in America, then great. You know, use your company's based there. But what I'm getting at is use hosting that is close to your target audience's location. So if you are an international company and you're targeting people all over the place, then sure, use an international hosting provider. But if you're a local building company based here in Pukekohe, for example, or South Auckland, then you want to be using a hosting provider that's based in Auckland or just based in New Zealand somewhere, because you're going to find again it's a lot quicker and a lot more reliable. Now, avoid at all costs, guys, the 99-cent hosting trick that all these big corporate hosting companies try and charge you. They'll offer you like free domain names and 99-cent hosting, but really avoid it like the plague. Focus on getting just a good, reliable hosting package. It might be $10, it might be $20, it might be $40 a month, but do it properly. At least it's got everything there ready to go. You've got to make sure that your hosting comes with all the right settings. PHP, MySQL, is it an ASP, is it a .NET server, cPanel, Plesk support. Now you might be saying, what the heck is that? If you're not sure what I'm talking about, stick to the automatic stuff. Again, Shopify, Wix, Weebly, you don't need to know any of that for that side of it, so just skip that if you're not sure. So who is good to host with? If you're doing it yourself, then you can save a bit of money here and there. But again, don't skimp on the real cheap hosting. So you want to choose someone who's got a good control panel, where you can make email addresses, where you can add files easily, where you can set up SSL certificates. Make sure they're local to your country. Ideally, if you want email addresses, check that their hosting fee includes email addresses, or if not, How much extra will it cost? Is it going to be $1 a month, $2 a month, $10 a month? And then, do they have automated backup services? So make sure when you get hosting that there is automatic backups every night, because you'd hate to lose a website if it got hacked and then the next day you come and the website's gone and the last backup was 2 months ago. You're buggered, to put it in Kiwi terms. So make sure you use an automated backup service, or that really they have that set up already. Now, if you're not sure or not confident hosting the website yourself, then you should get a web developer to host your website. So me, for example, I host around 80 to 90% of the websites I build, probably actually more like 90% of the websites I build, because I can manage it for the client fully. I know what to do, they don't have to worry about it, they just pay a monthly fee and it's all looked after. If you do it yourself, you've got to remember, if something breaks or doesn't work or your email stops working, you need to know how to fix that, or you need to know who to contact to help you to fix that, and that might cost you more money in the end. So you might remember the screen from before. So what's the overall goal? Are we generating leads? Are we generating sales, or are we educating? So we're planning the structure here. We're getting now into the actual structure and the content of the website. So if you're generating leads, you're going to have summarized information about your business and services available. You're going to have information backing up what you do, so it might be testimonials and project photos and stuff like that. If you're generating sales, you're going to have a shop to sell online. You're going to have all your products listed, the specifications, the worksheets, the gallery photos, the pricing, product reviews, all that sort of stuff. And you're going to have obviously an automated ordering process, which pretty much every website does now. So someone comes, they want to buy something, they can buy it, pay for it, ship it, it's all done online. And finally, educating credibility. So you're an established business perhaps, or you're a charity organisation and you just want to tell people about what you guys do. Now, if you're building a website that's designed around generating leads, then in most cases the web pages you will have by default are a home page, services page, about us, and contact us. Now, some businesses, depending on the industry, might also have a projects page, testimonials, news or a blog, and then a get a quote page. So if you're an architect, you'll probably have projects. If you're a lawyer, you might have testimonials, because obviously an architect, for example, is designing and doing visual work, whereas a lawyer's giving sort of more professional advice that doesn't necessarily require obviously any sort of visual reference like photography or video. So depending on the industry defines what pages you will have, whether it's testimonials or projects. Now, if you're generating sales, you're a retailer, you're going to have default pages like home, products, about us, contact details, FAQs even, and then obviously standard things like terms and conditions, refund, delivery policies, and things like that. So other things you might have a page with your latest specials, you might have current specials, let me redo that one, latest products, current specials, customer reviews, and also product resources. So you might sell, again, phones, and you might have a library of all the user manuals and user guides for all the phones you sell. So you can really sit down and consider, okay, what am I selling? If you are selling a product, a technical product like a phone, or you build your own sort of special products for businesses, you might have information on how to use them for the customer as well, for the client. If you're doing a website for educating and credibility, you'll have a homepage, mission, a profile, maybe some sponsors, a contact us page. You also might have things like board members, news in a blog, like what's happening, events, and also policies and rules are quite common too. Some charities or organisations in this area still have or do have a donation page, so you might be looking for funding, so you can also include that too. So the next stage, and this is really one of the most important, and I'm going to keep it real short and simple because I don't want you to get too overwhelmed by it. But writing copy is very important to not only tell people what you do, but help sell your product or service. So some quick fire tips that you guys can look at. Let's just work through them here. Keep it to the point. So a lot of companies, they try and get in too much detail about what they do. So I want you to keep it to the point. Don't tell people about that your pet dog influenced you to set up the business, for example. Don't talk about what you've done in the past or where you worked when you were a child. People don't care about that. They really want to know at the end of the day, what can you do for them, what product do you offer, what service do you offer that can add value to them. It sounds a bit righteous, but yeah, they want to know, what can you do for me? I don't really care about you. What can you do for me? Now, that's not to say you can't have some more details on your profile or About Us page about that, but for the main landing page and the main information pages, we really want to focus around what the client wants and needs. So write to please and please the customer and the client. So you're going to do content that addresses their issues. If they have a problem, like they're spending too much time at night working on their business, you might have a product or a service that helps alleviate that. So then you're going to write something like, get back your evenings and enjoy freedom, because our product helps solve your problem by doing X, Y, and Z, so you've got more time to do what you want. Again, that sort of relates again to the value and the end result. What is the end result of what your service offers? Let's say you look after pets when people go on holiday. You might highlight that your pet's looked after, it's kept, you know, it's looked after 24/7, I guess you could say, and it's affordable, and you don't have to worry about someone coming onto your property and forgetting to lock a door, for example, and things like that. So you've got to really sell what's the end result. It might be that people can relax, they can make more money, they can have more freedom, they can have more time to do what they want. That's really, everyone's needs at the end of the day drill down to sort of those key areas. They want more freedom and they want more money. Now, on every page you want to generally write about 300 to 500 words. Now, the more words the better really, but 300 to 500 words is a good target. A lot of sites only have 100 words a page, but if you can get a good balance, you're going to find that you're going to please search engines like Google, and you're going to please the customer. Because if you don't have enough wording on there, the search engines like Google, for example, can't really fully understand what you offer and how to show your website in search results to people looking for what you sell or offer. So try and write 300 to 500 words. Now that is quite a lot of text. And going on to the next point here, structuring it like a pyramid, we don't want to just have a big novel of content on the page because people aren't going to read that. We really want to summarize it and break it down. So I like to tell people to structure it like a pyramid. So at the top of the pyramid, there's not a lot up there. It's pretty simple and to the point. Down the pyramid, as we work our way down, as we scroll down the page, it starts to build and get into more detail. Now the 80-20 rule, 80% of people just want the short and sweet. They don't want to know too much. They just want to see if it can help them and who to get in contact or where to buy it and get it sorted. 20% of people still like to generally read more about it. So those people are always going to go and look. They're happy to scroll and take their time and find out more about that product or service. So structure it like a pyramid. At the top of your page, have your heading, have your image, have your intro, have a few bullet points. Give us a call, click here to buy now, book online, or read more below. And people can read more if they want to, if they still aren't fully convinced or they want to find out more. So including a call to action is very important. When you're writing copy, make sure you nestle throughout the copy. There's sort of no limit to how many times you can do it, but as much as you can. Always have those repetitive buttons there. Get a quote, get a quote, get a quote. As people scroll down, there's always that get a quote or get in contact. You're telling people to get in touch. Now, while it might sort of seem at the face of it annoying, it's real easy because when it's there and the customer's read a bit of information that really clicks with them, they'll go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, get a quote. I'll get a quote. I don't have time for this. So you really want to sort of have that in their face. You want to have a phone number in their face. If they want to get in touch, they can do easily. Now, finally, break up the content. So when you're writing content, and also when you're actually loading it to your web page, you want to break it up. So you want to have a lot of white space. You want to keep everything relatively decluttered and clean and simple. Because if you've got too much things going on, if you've got too much at the top of the page, it's going to distract people away from the core goal that you're trying to achieve. Now, sourcing great images. Now, this is a very important area as well. So if you're taking photos yourself, or if you're doing your own photos, make sure that you're going to do it the right way, obviously, or get a professional photographer to do it for you. So get product shots, get photos of your team, get a photo of your premises. If you have an office or you're a retail store or shop, so many companies don't have photos of their actual shop, and that's what people want to see. A shop, a physical store, is so much more powerful to convince people to buy online than a store that's ran from someone's garage. So if you're a store on the main street or you've got a nice warehouse, take a photo of it and put that on the website, especially on the contact page where people can see, oh, that's where they are, that's where they're based, so when they drive by they know where to go, for example. Now, get project photos. So again, going back to testimonials and projects, try and get photos of the work you do. If it's not confidential to the client, then take photos of it and post it. And you could post that in your blog or your news feed, or you could just post that in your latest projects folder. So get high quality photos where possible. Now, some of you might be in an industry that photos aren't really important, or you don't want to take photos because you're a bit self-conscious perhaps, and that's fine. But I really strongly recommend, guys, if you want to build a successful business, showcase yourself, showcase your products and your services to people, because that's the authentic way to do it and build your business. It's more trustworthy than stock photos. But if you're starting out and you don't want to get a photographer yet, or you're still planning things, then okay, use some stock photos. So there's some great affordable free options and some paid options that you can use too. So I like to use Adobe Stock myself because it seems to be the sort of cheaper but still very good quality photo provider. I also like to use sites like Pexels and Pixabay. If you Google those, you'll find them. They've got free stock photos that are fully free that you can use on your website. Now, let's just quickly run through some bad examples of stock photos, and even real photos if you did sort of take some in this format. But all these photos here that I've listed are quite cliche, not really relevant, and blatantly stock. You know, you can tell a stock photo, you can tell this photo here is a stock photo. You can tell this here obviously is a stock photo because it's a 3D rendering. Even these ones here, these are something you would have seen back in 2004 on a lawyer website or something. You really want to avoid that. Stick to real, natural, conventional, warm sort of photos of people. So the whole 3D and outline imagery thing this here, people still use it quite a lot, but I say avoid it as much as possible because it's just, it doesn't really convey anything. You know, a picture tells 1,000 words. That doesn't really tell you anything. So let's go into some good examples of stock photos. Now, depending on the industry you're in, you're going to select images that are relevant to what you do or offer. Clean, modern, balanced images. Look at these images, they're all natural. They've all got nice, vibrant colours, and they all sort of tell a story. Make sure they're relevant to your target audience. Now, if you're a building company, for example, use photos or stock photos of a completed project. If you're a hairdresser, use photos of people once they've had their hair done. Try not to use photos of people having their hair done. Try not to use photos of people building a house, because people actually don't care about seeing a house being built. They want to see what you've actually built. They want to see what their house could look like. So make sure you use photos that actually show the end result, just like you'd use content that conveys the end result, if that makes sense. Now, some photos can obviously look quite cheap and quite expensive depending on what you use. So if you're an affordable home builder or you're an affordable family lawyer, make sure the photos have that sort of feel in them. Make sure the picture of the house is a I wouldn't say a cheap looking house, but you know, a house that's good quality but it's not expensive looking, it's not architecturally designed. because if you're trying to sell a lower cost product with images that look very fancy and high end, you know, let's say you're a car repair shop, don't put a picture of a Ferrari on your page, put a picture of a Toyota Camry, because people are going to go, oh, my car's not, I don't want to spend that much, I don't have a Ferrari, I can't use you guys, or I don't, you know, how much are these guys going to charge me? They've got Ferraris and Bentleys and Rolls Royces and Mercedes on it, I can't afford that. So make sure you use imagery that reflects the price bracket that you are in. Now, use images also that are relevant to the geolocation. So if you are an Auckland-based company, you'll see I've got a picture here of Auckland City. Use a picture of Auckland City. If you're a company that works in New Zealand here, for example, don't have a picture, a generic picture of downtown Manhattan. Don't have a picture of some old 18th century buildings in London. People can tell that those aren't genuine images. Now, if we just quickly run through an example of a website layout. Website design is such a comprehensive subject in how to design something, but I'm just going to quickly run through here this example of a bad website layout, just to show you what doesn't look good, and then I'm going to show you what does look good and makes sense. So you can see this page here. It's really got 3 columns. Now, most websites we build nowadays are really just one column. Because everything responds down to a mobile phone, and generally a mobile phone doesn't have a lot of room, so we just keep everything in one column. This site's a 3-column layout. Just excuse me for 1 second, I'll just disable this. So what we've got here is we've got a menu on the sidebar. Again, this is sort of out of date now, we don't do this anymore. We've got another column here with some information. We've got another bigger column here too with a lot more information. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of headlines, but none of them actually are sort of the main standout headline. It's sort of they're trying to all compete with each other. So what you've got to do is make sure you've only got one big headline. This one's too long, by the way. One big headline that's relatively short and concise, and then another subtitle, and then some information. Now here, again, look at these paragraphs, they're far too long. There's 4 paragraphs here that are just way too much. You want to really stick to 2 or 3 paragraphs, each a couple of lines. Then you want to have some photos. Now these photos, okay, they're not too bad. You know, this photo over here, it's nice and big, but you want to make sure that you use the right photos in conjunction with the right text and balance it out nicely. And finally, really, the colours here. The colours are all over the show. And there's also no logo. So if you've got a logo that's, for example, gold and black, then the website should be themed gold and black. The text should be on a white background so it's easy to read, and you'll have gold accents throughout the page. Now if we go to an example of a clean and easy to understand layout, if you can see these 2 examples here, again they're sort of one column, nice big image at the top, a compact, easy to use navigation bar, and then we've got a few options down the side here. Where do we want to go? Same with this website, the logo, it's got blue and green in it. So throughout the web page we use blue, bit of green, we use nice, easy to read headlines, and we've also again got options. Where are we going? Do you want to see what we do? Do you want to read some of our testimonials? Do you want to find where our store is? Do you want to see our opening hours? Just give people nice simple buttons to click through and see more. Now a landing page. Making a landing page is the basics. So what is a landing page? So a landing page is basically a page that's specifically built to get people to go to and land on to see information about a product or a service, or more so an offer that you have. So you're trying to lure someone into inquiring or purchasing something from you in regards to that ad they've clicked on. So if you're going to run newspaper ads, or if you're going to run something more modern like online Google ads, then you're going to land people on a specific landing page. Let's say you're a car mechanic. Now you should have ads for all the different cars you do. You might fix Japanese cars, you might fix European cars. So what you should be doing is setting up a landing page for Japanese cars and European cars, because Japanese cars are cheaper generally to fix than a European car. So if someone's searching, for example, Mercedes-Benz service shop, then what you want is your ad showing up for European car services, so it's relevant to me. If I see a Japanese car and I'm searching for Mercedes, I'm not going to click on it. Okay, European car service, I click on that, then I go to a landing page, so that's where you're going. So what's going to be on the landing page? Well, if I'm a European car service specialist, I might say professional European car experts in Auckland. And then I might have a subtitle, experts in Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, VW. And then as soon as I land on that page, I know I'm in the right place. Just like if you're insurance, if you're going to sell car insurance online, when someone clicks your ad, don't send them to the home page where it says home, health, car, life insurance. Take them straight to the landing page for car insurance. If you're an electronics shop and you're selling phones, go to the phones page, make a landing page for phones. I hope that sort of makes sense to you guys. Now, make sure that you tell people about the offer that you've got, and also give them call to actions. So it might be something like requesting a quote, giving you a call, booking a meeting, buying a product, program or service, or filling in a quiz. So a structure of a landing page. So good things to do is large enticing headlines, backing up your offer with examples and case studies, briefly summarising what your product or service does over the others, so what value can you add. And then throughout the page we'll reiterate those call to action buttons like I was saying before. Action, action, action. If you're advertising prices and ideally you've got some sort of special going on, you might say, European car service normally $600, big cross through it with a nice big bold red headline, for a limited time $300. And furthermore to that, just another tip you might chuck on there, the first 5 people to inquire, or inquire by 5 p.m. today, and you'll get a free loan car, for example. Those can be ways to drive people to make an inquiry and purchase something. Now, some bad things to do on a landing page is having too much information. Again, stick to the simple pyramid structure. Have a brief heading and introduction, an offer, photo, and then a call to action. Don't get into too much paragraphs about why they should be using this and how your dog influenced you to set up your business. You get what I'm saying. Now, don't give people too many options. So on your landing page, give them up to 3 or 4 options. Don't give them a big list of, we've got this colour and we've got these 20 colours and we've got this different sizes. Just keep it simple for them so that they can inquire, and then if they need to select one of 500 different colour combinations, they can do that once you've got them as a lead or a prospect. Now, SEO is search engine optimization. So now we're moving on to actually, once we've got our content done and we've got our site loaded up with a design and done our landing pages, we want to do some SEO. So there's sort of two types of SEO. There's on-page and off-page. So search engine optimization, we're really just optimizing the website so that Google and Bing and other search engines make our site come up higher when someone searches for what we do. Like today there's millions of websites, so it's really hard to be one of the first people to show up on Google. So that's where you need to do SEO. Now, on-page SEO is where we optimize the content. We do blogs, we write more wording, we do social media posts, we update our prices, we add new projects in. Off-page SEO is things like backlinking, posting content on different directories or different pages like Instagram and Facebook, and also setting up different directories like Google Businesses, Google My Business, and things like that. And then when it comes to SEO, we're really focusing, if you're doing SEO, you're focusing on organic searches. So organic searches are free. So if your website's being optimized well for search engine optimization, obviously, you're going to then show up higher up the list organically. So that means you don't pay, you don't sort of cheat the system, you could say, and get number 1. It's all organic, it's free, it doesn't cost you. But obviously SEO in its own thing takes time, therefore it costs money to get someone to do it if you're not doing it yourself. Now, paid searches don't require SEO. This is direct advertising to your targeted audience. So I personally like paid searches. If you're starting out fresh and you don't have a lot of money to spend, then sure, that's probably something you can consider later. But if you're wanting to get into it and you've got a bit of money, I strongly suggest you spend money doing paid advertising, like Google Ads, for example. That means if you sell insurance, you can target people in this local area searching for insurance. Your ad comes up number 1, 2 or 3 straight away in the next few hours. Whereas SEO, you have to bear in mind, guys, takes time. So, common myths of SEO, perfect. It takes time. It really does take time. People expect as soon as their website's done, it's going to be up number 1 straight away. That is not the case, never. It takes a while to get its sort of footing and work its way up the list. SEO is not a one-time affair. You can't just do it once and for the rest of the next 10, 20 years you're sweet as your number 1 the whole time. It's a constant process. It's going to constantly cost you money to keep your website ranking well. And if it's not going to cost you money, it's going to cost you time, because you've got to keep on top of posting new content, keeping everything fresh, making new backlinks, making new directory listings. Now, keyword cramming, it doesn't work. It did, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you could put lots of keywords 100 times on the page and you'd come up number 1. That doesn't work now. Google and other search engines, algorithms are a lot smarter than that. So just write content, guys, that's easy to read and makes sense to the person reading it. Don't try and orientate it too much that it repeats the same thing 100 times, because it's not going to do a lot for you. Another myth is having multiple domain names helps you rank better. So you might have a .com, a .kiwi, a .co.nz. Just have one and stick to it. It's A, costing you more money to have all these different names, and B, it's not going to give you any benefit search engine wise having multiple domain names. The only way that would benefit you is if you set up individual mini websites or landing pages for each of those domain names. So paid search doesn't influence your website organic ranking. So people think, if I spend money with Google Ads, they'll put me up the list organically. That's not the case in the slightest. Now, people searching the same keywords and variations. So you've got to remember that people search lots of different ways of saying things. If someone needs a plumber, they might search plumber Auckland. They might search I need a plumber. They might search plumber near me. So you've got to remember that you might want to include different ways of naming or how people would search for that product or service. So yeah, another way of saying plumber, for example, is it could be my toilet's leaking. Someone, a toilet leak person, toilet leak fixer, toilet leak repairer, whatever it might be. So SEO tips you can do today. I've got these in my book as well that you guys can have a look at and buy if you like. Search engine optimization. So making your site rank better on searches. So first thing, set up a Google My Business page. Google it, you'll find out how to do it. It's free and it will help your business a lot. Make sure your site has an XML sitemap and a robots.txt file as standard. Again, Google this, guys, you'll find out how to do it. Make sure your page title includes key phrases. So the page title, or the meta title, is what comes up on Google searches, and it's also usually what comes up on your homepage as a headline. So don't say welcome to John Doe Manufacturing. Say, for example, food processing manufacturing equipment specialists. The keyword, what are people searching for? Car insurance, search car insurance New Zealand. Make sure that's your main title, not your company name, because most people are searching not for your company, but the service or the keyword that you can offer. Make sure all your images have alt tags. Make sure it's relevant to what the image is. This is good for accessibility as well. And use a tool called Google PageSpeed to improve your site's score, making your site run faster, and again, this can help ranking potential. And the meta title should be around 60 characters, so not too long and not too short. Make sure you utilize it as much as possible, and put the most important key phrases first. So don't put your company name first in the title or the description. Put actually what you do and then your name at the end. So optimizing for mobile. It's important your site is mobile friendly. Many websites are used more on mobile devices than actual desktop. All websites benefit from being mobile optimized, not only for SEO, but also usability. So mobile must-dos, let's go through these. Make sure your phone number is visible at all times. You might have a little phone icon in the bottom corner of your screen that someone at any time can click and call you. Now make sure your menu button is big. If someone wants to click your menu, make sure the button's actually big, so someone with a big finger, I've got small fingers, but if you've got a big finger, click it, and you don't click on something by accident, because people get really frustrated on their phones, especially they don't have the time or patience for using bad websites. And space the page out a bit. Don't cram everything together because it begins to look too cluttered. And remember that people are in a rush usually, so keep it short and simple. And test your website on various devices and websites. So test it on an iPad, test it on Internet Explorer, unfortunately. Test it in Chrome, test it on Mac, test it on Windows. Make sure it works correctly on all those devices. Now there's two types of sitemaps. There's a user sitemap and a search engine sitemap. The user sitemap you've probably all used before. You see a sitemap link on a website, you click on it, and it shows you all the pages in like a nice tree view. And you go, oh, I want to go there, click. Now the search engine sitemap is sort of an encoded format. It's XML that basically tells the computer at Google what pages are on your website and how often they've been updated and when to check for updates and things like that. So that can help with SEO too. The final touches is meta tags. So what are meta tags? Meta tags are primarily used to describe your web pages to people browsing on or search engines like Google, for example. So if you look at these, this is all common to you guys, no doubt. These are search results on Google. Now these actually link back to the meta tags on a website. So on a website like WordPress or Silverstripe or Zulu, you can put in meta tags, and that's what I was just talking about before. So it might be Building Specialists Auckland -ABC Builders Limited. That would be your title tag. Then you've got a description tag, and then you've got these little site links as well. So these should be relevant, punchy, engaging, and have key phrases and words in them that relate to what people are searching for. You want them to get people's attention. It's one thing obviously to come up, but it's also then getting the person to go and say, okay, I'm going to click on you. You know, out of the 10 results here, I'm going to click on your business. So it needs to not only get onto Google for a start, but then get people to click on it. Now, quick tips for meta tags. So as I said a second ago, keep them around 60 characters long, because after a certain point, they will get truncated, they'll get shortened. Now, descriptions should be between 150 and 160 characters long. Now, in some cases, you can actually go longer now. They've gone up to about 320 characters, but I generally work to around 160 characters. So again, use as much of it up as you can, but don't go overboard. Now start with the important key phrases first. So you're an Auckland building company. You're experts in commercial property conveyancing. Don't start with your business name, so to speak. And capitalise the first letter of each word. So, for example, if we look at this one up here, you probably can't really see it closely, but each word, the first letter of each word is capital. Now it's only minor, but it just helps that pop out a little bit more. Whereas if everything's lowercase apart from the start of the sentence, it's slightly less sort of capturing than a result that has all of those capitalizations. So that's quite an important thing that you make sure you consider. Now, if we move on to the next one here, we're just going to, I wrote some examples of meta tags or meta titles that are good and bad examples. So let's just start with some bad examples. And this is what I see all the time, it's really common. So home, ABC Builders Limited. So a lot of people have a home page and they call it home on their content management system. That's fine, but the meta title has still got home in it. People don't care, people don't want to know or don't need to know that it's the home page. It's obvious it's going to be the home page. So replace that with something more valuable, and I'm going to go through that next in a sec. So welcome to Wazaga, welcome to ABC Plumbing, welcome to John Doe Manufacturing. Again, it's not telling anyone what you do or where you are. Not good. Electrical Services NZ. Now that's okay, but look, we don't have the capitalized first letters of each word, nor do we have the company name in there. Now if we look at some good examples, I'll basically just simply switch this right around. If we refer back to home-ABC Builders, a better way to write that would be Building Services Auckland-ABC Builders Limited. For Wazaga, it would be Car Specifications Online-Wazaga Car Directory. And Electrical Services Auckland-Get a Sparky. So you see I've got the company name at the end, and I've got the core service or industry at the start. good meta titles attract more clicks and more potential conversions. Remember that, guys. Now, meta descriptions. Again, let's go through some good and bad examples here. So when you're writing them, we want to keep them the right length, and we also want to make sure that we're putting the right content into them. So this example here is a common one as well that people muck up. ABC Builders, established in 2001, is a building company based in Auckland, helping with new builds established by Joe and Jenny Doe. Another bad example, Car Repairs Auckland, Car Parts NZ, specialist car parts for European and Japanese vehicles. They're not really convincing or captivating. This one here, the car one, it's really just keywords slammed into a description. It doesn't really read nicely. Let's read some good examples that I've written. New build specialists, making your dream home on budget, on time. Building Auckland homes since 2001. Qualified builders, free quotes. We're really telling people what we do and how we do it. Dream homes, on budget, on time. Those are the key issues that a lot of people have when they build a new home. It's too expensive, it takes another year than it should have. And here we're also just sort of adding that professionalism, or telling people that we are the experts by saying we are qualified builders. We've been doing it since 2001. We do offer free quotes. Now if we look at the car one, so let's read through this car one here. So want your car serviced quickly and affordably? MechMate is Auckland's European and Japanese vehicle repair specialists. Free quotes and qualified. Again, it's basically saying what we had in here, but in an easy to read and also inviting format. It reads nicely. Now to the final chapter, guys, you've made it this far, so well done. Analysing your users. So once the website's up and running, we want to keep track of what's happening. Now there's a massive amount of tools you can use, but really I like to use these two. And they're both free. Hotjar. Hotjar is the first one. Hotjar is free to an extent. Google Analytics is free regardless. So let's talk about them. Now, Hotjar is a more visual tool. Analytics is a more analytical tool. It's more statistics and numbers and figures. So Google Analytics, basically, as it's named, you can track how many people visit your site, what they look at, how long they've been looking, and much more. What's best about it is that it's free. So you can use the information to see what's popular and what to work on improving and adding more to your site. So you can see who's been viewing it, how long they've been on the website for, what pages they've been viewing, who's using a mobile phone, or how many people are using a mobile phone compared to how many aren't. So for example, if a lot of people are using mobile phones more so than desktops, you should perhaps making sure your mobile website is performing really at its best. You know, that's where all the attention's going, more so than to your desktop website. Also, you might want to look at things like bounce rates. So bounce basically means if someone lands on the site, then straight away leaves again, that's called a bounce. So if you've got a very high bounce rate, say above 60%, 70%, then you might need to look at the page and go, okay, people are bouncing off my homepage. Maybe they can't find what they need. Maybe the page is taking too long to load. Maybe there's no phone number there. Maybe my menu's not visible, or it's too hard to click the button and toggle it on my cell phone. You've got to really consider that. So think about how much people are bouncing on the mobile phones even versus a desktop. If people are bouncing off mobile phones, or the duration of the session, the amount of time someone spends on the website is very low, then you might go, okay, well the website's obviously too hard to use because people are just spending 10 seconds and leaving. Whereas on my desktop, they're sitting there for 10 minutes. So you've got to analyze and go, okay, what's not working here and what can I improve on? And this is really, really important. You think yourself, once the website's built, it's good to go. You really need to get people to play with it and track the analytics and see what people are doing. If people, for example, are viewing your FAQs page quite a lot, you know, you've got a lot of people looking at your FAQs page, and that page isn't even in the top menu, it's down the bottom somewhere. Maybe think, well, this page is popular, this product's popular, this service is popular, I'll move it up the top and highlight it so people can more easily find it. You've got to really think about that sort of stuff when you're using Google Analytics. And I could do a full 2-hour webinar really on analytics alone, but that gives you a quick taste of it. And it's easy to set up if you're using a web developer, or in most cases pretty much every software like WordPress and Silverstripe and Zulu are pre-set up for it. Now Hotjar. Hotjar is a fantastic tool as well. I discovered this tool about 2 years ago now, I think. So when numbers aren't enough, Hotjar is the tool you should use, and it has a free plan available that's great as well. So what Hotjar does is two real key things. It does heat mapping and user recording. They've also, as of today, got a few more cool features on there as well. So with the heat map, it's a visual picture of your website's homepage, for example, and you can see sort of like an infrared thermal vision image what's the most clicked area, because it's red. It sort of tells you, as you can see in the example here, what people are clicking on the most. And you can also see the scroll map. You can see how far people are scrolling before they lose interest. Now obviously the top of the page is always going to be red hot because that's where people land, but as you scroll down you might find that they're leaving the page only after scrolling a third of the way down. So you can say, okay, well my page obviously is getting a bit boring, or it's not giving people what they need to know quickly enough. Whereas if it's pretty much hot all the way right down to the bottom, then you might go, well okay, that's good, they're looking through everything, but maybe they can't find what they want because they're looking around the whole page for it and they're not finding what they need. So it's really about getting the heat map recorded and then going through and thinking, okay, what can I change and shift around, then test it again and see if you can improve what people are clicking on. So like I was saying before guys, on Google Analytics, if your FAQs page is linked right at the bottom of the website and you see that's getting red hot clicks, everyone's clicking on it, then yeah, move it up the top. Now another part to this is recordings. So you can actually see what people are doing on your page. It'll record their screen, it'll record the website so to speak, with their mouse, and you can see their mouse moving around the website, clicking on different things here and there. It's a great tool, and it sounds a bit scary, but it's a very good tool to actually see how people use your website. You can see them scroll and you can see their mouse hovering over different things, and you can usually use it to see what people are trying to look for and where they're clicking, and even how fast the page is loading and things like that. I often find people using the scroll bar, manually clicking and dragging the scroll bar, or when they're filling in a form, I can see them filling in a form and they might be taking a long time. So if someone's taking a long time to fill in a form and my form's page long, maybe I should shorten it up so it's easier for people to fill in and get in touch. So like Hotjar is probably the first thing I'd set up really, but they're both as easy to set up as each other. And get recording, and then sit down after a week of recording and then go through each recording and look at what people are doing and just analyse. You'll see patterns, you know, people can't find a price, or they're trying to search for something, or they're all clicking on the same exact thing. Then you can analyse and improve your website from there, how you please. And continuous improvement and analysis. So keep working at it. When you improve your website and keep working on it, you will benefit from it. A lot of clients of mine in the past, they've set up websites and they haven't kept on top of it. They've just let it sit there and expect it to maintain and build and generate leads, you know, into eternity. It just doesn't work like that. You've really got to set it up and keep working on it. Even if it's just once a week, putting an article on there, chucking a new project on there, putting a new banner on the homepage, that can be really beneficial. Like most of the clients that I've had that have been very successful online with their websites have been ones that have always kept up to date. They might be updating their social media page every day, they might be adding new products, they might be doing specials, they might be promoting the upcoming Easter holiday specials, they might be promoting Good Friday specials. It's important that you keep your website up to date, and I have so many people say, I leave a website when I see it hasn't been updated, or the last news story was in 2012. You've really got to make sure you keep on top of it, because it really does judge whether someone's going to stay on that page or not. So, I hope that helps guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for listening to it. Even if you got 1 or 2 points out of the whole webinar, then that's great. But hopefully you got a whole lot more out of it. And I just suggest what you do now going forward is, if you've made a list, if you've made some notes, stagger that list and sort of plan out what you're going to do in stages, and then work through it. You might already have a website, so maybe plan what you can do from now with the advice I've given you to help improve your website, and do 1 or 2 things a week even. Don't fuss about doing it all right now, because the likelihood of trying to cram it all in now is just going to be too hard and you'll drop it all together. Just stagger it and do bits here and there, and just monitor the analytics and see if it's making a difference. Now, if you'd like to learn more about me, just go to my website, mattreed.co.nz, or feel free to look at our other webinars, obviously, and I've also got 2 books that I've currently got published, so you're welcome to buy those. And if you'd like some professional one-on-one help from me, feel free to get in touch. But I hope you found that webinar interesting, and I'd love your feedback, obviously. If you'd like me to do webinars or give you information on other subjects, just let me know and I'll be happy to help. But otherwise, have a wonderful day, and thanks for sticking around and watching this full webinar, and join me again next time. Thanks.